Hello, grade sixes. Hopefully you're enjoying the rain. It seems to be pretty well sucked in for maybe all of today yet. And maybe then we'll get some sunshine. And watch out. Once the rain stops and the sun comes, on comes lots of grass to cut, lots of mosquitoes. And that's okay though. Then we can be outside again. Anyways, hopefully the farmers are happy and everyone who's trying to get their lawns going, because this has been awesome having lots of rain. We left off with, we were 3 pages into our dreams chapter in BFG, and this one has lots of good illustrations that I'll try and make sure to show you. So I'll switch over to the camera and we'll kind of just review where we left off and keep going. So if you remember, we left off here at the bottom of this page, and this is what the BFG had printed in big, bold letters that were not very well formed. And it said, "This dream is about how I is saving my teacher from drowning. I is diving into the river from a high bridge, and I is dragging my teacher to the bank, and then I is giving him the kiss of death." So here's the dream that the BFG is talking about. Alrighty, carrying on. "The kiss of what?" Sophie asked. The BFG stopped writing and raised his head slowly. His eyes rested on Sophie's face. "I is telling you once before," he said quietly, "that I is never having a chance before." He said, that I is never having a chance to go to school. I is full of mistakes. They is not my fault. I do my best. You is a lovely little girl, but please remember that you is not exactly Miss Know Everything yourself. "I'm sorry," Sophie said. "I really am. It is very rude of me to keep correcting you." The BFG gazed at her for a long while. For a while longer. Then he bent his head again to his slow, laborious writing. "Tell me honestly," Sophie said, "if you blew this dream into my bedroom when I was asleep, would I really and truly start dreaming about how I saved my teacher from drowning by diving off the bridge?" "More," the BFG said, "a lot more. But I cannot be squibbling the whole grope flunking dream on a titchy bit of paper. Of course there is more." The BFG laid down his pencil and placed one massive ear close to the jar. For about 30 seconds he listened intently. "Yes," he said, nodding his great head solemnly up and down. "This dream is continuing. Very nice. It had a very dory hunky ending." "How does it end?" Sophie said. "Please tell me." "You would be dreaming," the BFG said, "that the morning after you is saving the teacher from the river. You is arriving at school and you is seeing all the 500 pupils sitting in the assembly hall and all the teachers as well. And the head teacher is then standing up and saying, 'I is wanting the whole school to give 3 cheers for Sophie because she is so brave and is saving the life of our fine arithmetic teacher, Mr. Figgins, who was unfortunately pushed off the bridge into the river by our gym teacher, Miss Amelia Upscotch. So 3 cheers for Sophie.' And the whole school is then cheering like mad and shouting, 'Bravo, well done!' And forever after that, even when you is getting your sums all gung swizzled and muggled up, Mr. Figgins is always giving you 10 out of 10 and writing 'Good work, Sophie' in your exercise book. Then you is waking up." "I like that dream," Sophie said. "Of course you like it," the BFG said. "It is a fizz wizard." He licked the back of the label and stuck it on the jar. I is usually writing a bit more than this on the labels, he said, but you is watching me and making me jumpsy. I'll go and sit somewhere else, Sophie said. Don't go, he said. Look in the jar carefully, and I think you will be seeing this dream. Sophie peered into the jar, and there, sure enough, she saw the faint translucent outline of something about the size of a hen's egg. There was just a touch of color in it, a pale sea green, soft and shimmering, and very beautiful. There it lay, this small oblong sea green jellyish thing at the bottom of the jar, quite peaceful, but pulsing gently, the whole of it moving in and out ever so slightly, as though it were breathing. It's moving, Sophie cried. It's alive. Of course it's alive. What will you feed it on? Sophie asked. It is not needing any food, the BFG told her. That's cruel, Sophie said. Everything alive needs food of some sort, even trees and plants. The north wind is alive, the BFG said. It is moving. It touches you on the cheek and on the hands, but nothing is feeding it. Sophie was silent. This extraordinary giant was disturbing her ideas. He seemed to be leading her towards mysteries that were beyond her understanding. A dream is not needing anything, the BFG went on. If it is a good one, it is waiting peacefully forever until it is released and allowed to do its job. If it is a bad one, it is always fighting to get out. The BFG stood up and walked over to one of the many shelves and placed the latest jar among the thousands of others. Please, can I see some of the other dreams? Sophie asked him. The BFG hesitated. Nobody is ever seeing them before, he said, but perhaps after all I is letting you have a little peep. He picked her up off the table and stood her on the palm of one of his huge hands. He carried her towards the shelves. Over here is some of the good dreams, he said. The Fizz Wizards. Would you hold me closer so I can read the labels? Sophie said. My labels is only telling bits of it, the BFG said. The dreams is usually much longer. The labels is just to remind me. Sophie started to read the labels. The first one seemed long enough to her. It went right round the jar, and as she read it, she had to keep turning the jar. This is what it said. Today I is sitting in class, and I discover that if I is staring very hard at my teacher in a special way, I is able to put her to sleep. So I keep staring at her, and in the end, her head drops onto her desk, and she goes fast to sleep and snorkles loudly. Then in marches the head teacher, and he shouts, Wake up, Miss Plumridge! How dare you go to sleep in class? Go fetch your hat and coat and leave this school. Forever you is sacked. But in a jiffy I is putting the head teacher to sleep as well, and he just crumples slowly to the floor like a lump of jelly. And there he lies, all in a heap, and starts snorkeling even louder than Miss Plumridge. And then I is hearing my mummy's voice saying, Wake up, your breakfast is ready. There is the head teacher. That's where we're going to leave off, guys and ladies. That is our installment of BFG. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful weekend.